Hello everyone, my name is Uthris, and welcome back to Vintage Story, where we are in winter, December, year 2. So we're almost to year 3 on our save. And we got some things to build this episode. I went ahead and slaughtered the little bit of our original Generation 1 pigs over here to clear a spot because I want to go ahead and build our first little windmill. Our sailboat has sunk. I'm sure that's fine. Anyways, yeah, so I'm going to build a windmill here. And that's going to be our grain windmill, okay? I'm not the type of person to make a windmill with 10,000 different things. What the heck are the chances of... Okay. Anyways, yeah, I'm not going to have like a tower windmill thing with like 10 different rotors on it. This is just going to be a grain windmill. A very kind of simplistic, medieval kind of construction, which would be pretty cool, I think. Dang, that's a pretty big rift. And that way, I don't have to use the quern in the house anymore. Holding right click is for losers, and I'd rather have the wind power do that for me. After this windmill's constructed, I think we'll get into making the proper smithy, which might end up going here, which means I'll have to move a lot of my magical things, which is fine. I'm not overly invested in the magical layout just yet or anything about that. I might move that stuff to the other side of the farm just to kind of group everything with the light essence generator. But yeah, we added 2 new mods to the series this episode. First thing being the Joy Sailing mod. So I was going to show you guys this, but it is currently under ice. I'll have to break our boat free for a moment just to kind of show you what it does. So normally the sailboat here, you have to hold W to move around and things like that. Now, if I tap W and hold it, you can see the sail raises and lowers. And if I hold space, it rotates to the right. And if I hold sprint, it rotates to the left. Okay, so this is what the Joy Sailing does. The flag that dictates wind is up there, and it is functional. So I will have to tack and do that. When the sail actually gets wind in it, the sail will bellow a little bit too. And you can see when it's against the wind, it kind of sits flat and loses its shape. So that's what the Joy Sailing mod does. It's just so I don't have to hold W the whole time while sailing. It's a little annoying. Also, they buff the speed of this boat. It can cruise. If you got a good wind going, and a strong wind at that, this thing will cruise for sure. So that's mod number 1. Mod number 2 is Millwright. And what that does is it adds a couple windmill rotors, something called reinforced rotors. These things, there's a 3-blade rotor, a 4-blade, 6, 8, and all of these are just better versions than the default windmill rotor. Now, that they spin absurdly fast. That's a visual thing you can set in the configuration, and so this is why I enjoy getting away with windmill towers, right? Like these single buildings, because I just can get away with the torque using this mod a little bit to just kind of buff these things. So I'm gonna probably do the 4 sail on this initial one. I think the blacksmith we might bump up to a 6 sail because we'll need more torque for helve hammers and things. But we'll just do a basic 4, maybe a 3 sail rotor here for the initial grain mill. So other things that we've been working on is a little bit of Spellcraft. So I went ahead and gathered everything I need for the aqua burst spell, I believe, in this chest right here. So let me just confirm that, and we might make our first little grimoire as a test. So we need 1 neutral ash. We got that. We need 2 leather. We got that. 8 parchment. Got that. 1 rustic compound. We have that. 2 charcoal. Correct. 4 arcani. Correct. And 4 rusty gear. So this, thrown into an Oculus, should work. So we're going to start with this. A little bit of magic. I'm going to rip the rune stones. I'm kind of moving them back and forth. Rune stones at a magic generation facility will increase how much magic is generated at a time. So when I'm not using the Oculus, I can use the rune stones elsewhere. Let's grab our pickaxe. Makes this a little bit faster to break them. There we go. Boom. Alright, Oculus is turned back on. And we will throw this into it. It wants the dust first. So neutral ash. Then the leather. Then the parchment. And then the rustic compound. Charcoal. Arcani. Rusty gears. Okay. So, this, to finish, requires 250 neutral essence. So I need to connect let's plug up the same magical stations. No nexus or next. Why can't I? Do I have to do it here? Don't tell me this is too far away. Connect an essence generator. I'm trying to. No line. Yep, okay. Is this just too far? Huh. That's annoying. Oh, the joys of this magic mod. I'm gonna have to figure that out. Okay, there we go. Got it linked. Apparently, I was just doing it wrong. It's like you have to double click to confirm sometimes. Like you have to right click again, and then click over here. So, anyways, we got two stations connected. This is ready to go. I just have to cast transmute on it now. So let's grab a wand, which I'll be making a staff soon after this, I think. Doop 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 doop. Boom. Okay, so the spell cipher, we lose it, but we got the book. All right. So this is Aqua Burst. It does 6 damage, range 25 blocks. We will go ahead and slot it into the grimoire. Oh, that looks so good. Our first actual spell. I just want to look to see. All right, so it's gonna be a little bit until I get a staff up and going, just inherently. But yeah, that's how the Oculus works. It's basically just a larger crucible, And it just takes some essence from a generator nearby to hook it up. So I think the default range is 50 blocks or so to hook up different objects. There's a config file for that if you want to change it, but 50 blocks I think is perfectly reasonable. Alright, I think we're ready to get kind of started here on our plans. I'm just gonna come over here and poke a couple of these rust crystals. So I went ahead and cut down a decent amount of trees. We got birch, we got some oak, we got some maple, we still have some limestone, and we have andesite, cobblestone. Might end up using some limestone for the base. Oh, by the way, I'm a little all over the place in this episode, it seems. We got a rough-in. You know, I don't know if I'm going to keep the cobblestone look or change that eventually, but I went ahead and threw in some arches and supports for the aqueduct. So that looks a lot better, I think. Trying out this little bit of a detail going across there. More narrow, tall portions to hold up this taller section, and then the wider arches down below. I might end up I don't know what I'll end up doing with this over time. Everything's a big overtime project. All right, get our chisel out. There we go. Doing stuff like this always makes it look more elegant than otherwise. The fact that you can just take a big bulky block down to essentially a 6 by 6 inch beam, it's just so cool. It's just so cool. No other way around it, in my opinion. I didn't grab my pantograph, but I'll go grab it in a second. Just get both sides, and then we'll copy paste it over to the other side. Now that I have the pantograph, it's going to be a lot easier for me to do some chiseling details. I might take this down to this size as well. It's looking about that size. I could also put this up on a little block, which for my rough drawing of a reference image, that might look better to use the center of the board here. And then I can have like some sort of stone or brick block there that is kind of resting on eventually. Kind of like that. That way it's on a little bit of a footer. See, all this stuff in this game, you can do actual wood joinery if you wanted to. No one might see it, but I could actually like build everything, have a cutout, lay another log, and join them together and seal it. And the grains can run in those certain ways. I could carve out a dovetail visually as well. Yeah, tell you what, that's gonna be better. Let's grab the pantograph. And paste shape only mode. Go. So those are going to be our initial kind of beams here. 1, 2, 1. Okay, just make sure I have the right gaps. that's kind of cool. Let's carve this section down. And keep it wider. No, let's just do the same size. Same beam size. Nothing wrong with that. We'll see if I care to fix this area, because what's going to happen is kind of something like this. Well, let me just do that first. And then just come out. So you can see this is, makes it look a little weird from the top side and bottom side, just due to like the bark being there. So I could get a little caught up and try and angle the wood grain on this join here to be different. I'm not going to. So yeah, we'll do that. And then this is gonna hold up the floor eventually. The floor is gonna be, might do half slabs right here. That way we're not too high off the ground until the floor. And then using support beams, I might get some angle bits in there. I'm gonna try, I might do a little stone footer here as like almost like a pivot point. That way it's just not on the dirt. Let's grab some materials to set that on the cobblestone. I'm thinking brick. I still got some brick. If I do shape and materials. Okay, well I can just rotate that, I think. There we go. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I want oak probably as the beams, and then we don't have a birch building yet, I don't think. We have some birch details like doors occasionally. Well, we have birch on the shed. We'll probably do birch. It'll match the kind of shed then. This will have to be some sort of column. So that thing is going to go up to probably about here. Have a simple roof. And then the windmill blade. And then we'll try and get like the arm, ensure that it's, I mean, I might raise it up. I might raise it up another block. That way we can use kind of this part as the bottom and this part as the floor. Or maybe even these two sections as the bottom for some support and rigging, and then the top of this block as the floor. I mean, like, it does have a pretty steep staircase here, probably three people tall. Three person, maybe 2.5 persons tall, which would be, I think, another half block up or so. And then that would allow me to get the support beams at a better angle and of bigger chunks of wood probably. And then If I make it a bit taller, I might be able to make it a little bit wider too, because then we can get the support structure actually there. Because it's about... I don't know. I'll have to play around a little bit. Let me come back when the bottom section's done here, and we'll talk about it. Ooh, that took a little bit longer than I wanted to here for the base, but we can go over this a little bit before just moving on. So we got you know, the cobblestone on risers, and then large kind of 6x6 beams, kind of supporting this upper house, you could say, the actual windmill portion. I kind of roughed in where I think the quern's gonna go, because I need room for some chutes down to a common chest eventually. But yeah, so what we got is some support beams at an angle, and then working in some quarter, kind of a lot of logs for details, and then our birch slabs. So I think we'll start raising the walls to a good level and kind of go from there. There's going to be quite an interesting effort to get this thing a little bit more efficient, just simply due to it being in a 3x3 space. Means that this is going to have a rather interesting footprint, I believe, in workable space here. So let's raise these up. I want to see kind of how tall this thing is going to end up being. Because it will be decently tall. And it's going to come out a little. I'm thinking about where my cursor is where the windmill kind of mortar is going to be. So I think three more blocks. So okay, come on. Oh, super foggy up here. And it's actually taller than the aqueduct tower. I'm kind of surprised to see that. Alright, so I wanted 2. And then we need the gap. I'm just going to use packed dirt for that. And then we get a little bit more roof here. Doop, doop, doop. So let's just see how that looks from this side. Yeah, that is pretty tall for sure for the chest. Boom. Rotor. We'll see how the clearance goes. You just kind of never know with Vintage Story. So I'll bring up the walls. I need to gather some more materials. I'm a little short on oak, quarter logs, and then we need to look at what I need for the 3 sail. We just need an iron plate, so we got that. And then we need some gears. We're gonna need maybe 2 of these. And then is it shaft? No. Axle. Right? Oh, there's a pass-through wooden axle. axle. Interesting. It's part of Millwright that didn't used to exist. Or maybe it did exist and I just never used it. But, yeah, we need some axles here to get this thing a little bit more functional. So I'm going to go ahead and gather all that stuff up. And then I'll get it plugged in and we'll talk about kind of how it's going to work. I'll even make some chutes and a chest. You know what? This thing might end up being fully almost done. I would say it's 90% done. Okay, so it has been all of winter, it feels like, working on this windmill. It's not 100% done. I don't have the flax required to plug in the sails. So currently this is where I'm gonna have to leave it. There's a couple question mark points with the design that I kind of need the sails on to answer. The main one being is this little jut out the front, which has a little chest and a chute to connect into the quern so that we can kind of have things in waiting to be milled down over time. Usually if you have the windmill collide with something, it breaks. I'm hoping I can get away with something around that, but until I have the blades, I decided to just kind of hold off on finishing the front end a little bit here. But it's starting to look pretty good, I think. I think it's starting to look pretty good. Over here, we got the curved handle jutting out here that currently is on a kickstand that would be used normally to rotate your windmill around on the axis that it's sitting on. That way you can put it into the wind. Obviously, we can't do that, so it's forever going to be facing that way. And yeah, I think this little design looks great, honestly. We got a little porch here with some ladder access to the first floor, which has our hoppers and chutes into a collection chest here at the bottom. Chutes are a little finicky to get right, so generally they flow directionally until they hit like a down or a junction. If they hit a junction, they kind of can go in any random way, but they will always go down. So this chute goes down into here, in which case gravity will grab it and throw it into this chest. This chute goes straight down because it can't go this way because it'd rather go down than over. And then this chute here just simply plugs into the back of the chest right there. So everything that gets spit out of the quern will go down into that chute system and into our chest. The way that works, for those of you who have never played Vintage Story, if I have something in the output slot that isn't valid, when this thing does a full rotation, I'll go ahead and disconnect it from the windmill so we can operate it by hand. You'll see that it will spit out once it's full, and it's going to spit out in a cardinal direction that slowly goes around. So if I spin this, see it went out to the left side, it went into that chute. If I spin it again, it actually won't process because it can't go this way, right? So you can see it's skipped. So it's skipping this way because there isn't open air next to it. You need an open air block. But the next time it gets processed, it's going to go that way. And then again, it will come towards us and then to the left. So I consider this quern about 75% efficient because there's that one turn that yields no result every single time. And that's just due to the limitation of the space that we have here and things like that. Normally you'd want your chest above, feeding down into the top of the quern. That way it opens up that side. But since the axle has to plug into here, or the bottom, the top slot is the only option to use here with this small compact windmill design. The ladder, you just keep going up, you get the third floor, and then you get the access to the rotor, which will tell you the wind speed and output in kilonewtons and force as it goes through the gearing here. Now, I could potentially gear this up to make it spin faster. I don't want to. It's just going to be a processing windmill. I want it to be as just a 1-to-1 gear ratio here, so that it's just able to spin as much as possible. If I gear it up, it won't have enough torque potentially at certain wind speeds to even spin the quern. But I mean, I think it looks really good. Again, there's just a few design things that I have to hold off on until it's finished, but functionally it's there. It's just we need the flax harvest with the upcoming season to finish it off. So it's January 8th. Winter is almost over. We're looking at feeding the pigs, which I just threw a whole bunch of radishes in here to get them to start eating, because I want to get them pregnant, and then once they have their next generation of babies, we'll start calling the Gen 3s out of here pretty nicely. So with that, hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you did, feel free to subscribe, hit that like button, become a member today to support the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.